May Chukwu Kabiama protect everyone that has connected. Today we are going to go straight into our program of the day. And the topic we have to discuss today is a topic that is trending as we speak. That is what the whole world is looking at. That is what even the Nigerian media is contemplating, debating, and talking about. And our topic today says the 9 million lie truth. The 9 million lie truth. Self-hate, the war on facts. But they forget, the internet never forgets. They forgot that the internet never forgets. The $9 million lie. The $9 million lie. That is what is trending in all the media houses. The $9 million is already working. Self-hate, that has to do with some of us that are Biafrans. The war on facts. War on fact is going on as we speak. But they forgot. The internet never forgets. No amount of money can buy the truth. You can only deceive those you can deceive. You can only postpone actions. You can only delay the truth from coming out. But at the end of the day, the truth will always be out. Self-hate is one thing we have seen over and over again among people that claim to be fighting for Biafra. So many of them, so many of us, we are hating ourselves. We are fighting against ourselves. We are fighting against even that thing we claim to stand for. And we are going to touch these items today for as much as we can. The war on facts, which is ongoing today. The battle in the zoo today is a battle between good and evil, a battle between lie and truth. The manipulation is increasing every single day. But they forget. They forgot. The internet never forgets. So many things that has happened in the past is recorded. So many lies and propaganda they push, they are all recorded. We still have the records. All their propaganda, all their blackmail, all the lies they have told and things they have said in the past, they think we have forgotten. No. The internet never forgets. So today we will try as much as possible to draw the attention of those who care, those who want to know, those who are weak, those who are devastated, those who are scared and afraid, and those who are seeking for solutions. We are going to draw attention to some information that might help you to pull through. Once again, I say good morning, brothers and sisters, wherever you are watching from. Good morning to all the truth seekers. Good morning to everyone who believes that facts matters, that evidence matters, and that human life matters. If you are one of those, my greetings to you. Our program today might not be comfortable to some people, might not be acceptable to some people, which is all right, it's okay. Which is something we expect. That sometimes we will preach a message and many people will not be comfortable with it, but that will not stop us from preaching. It is not also convenient and it is definitely not sponsored by power. But all we do is to say what we have to say, the truth. Because today we are talking about money versus truth. That is exactly what we have to discuss today, money versus the truth. Because after the spray of $9 million, we have seen narratives coming out. Media houses are losing their cool. Some respected media houses are now singing a different song. We are talking about a reported $9 million lobbying effort. We are seeing the $9 million bucket. And we are talking about why that money was spent in the first place. It is a time for everybody to tighten up their seatbelt. Don't go to sleep. If everything is fine in Nigeria, if nothing is wrong, if there is no persecution problem, why spend 9 million trying to reshape the narrative? That is the question that every sensible human being will ask. Every group that has conscience, man or woman that is being approached, the question in your mind should be, if everything is fine in Nigeria, if nothing is wrong, and there is no persecution problem, why spend 9 million trying to reshape narratives? That question alone should make everyone pause for a minute. Whoever you are, whatever you support, that should make you pause for a minute. Let me be very clear about what we are discussing today. Today we are discussing the effect of Nigerian reported 9 million lobbying effort. That is what we are discussing. The danger of self-hate and internal sabotage among some Biafrans. The urgent need for massive pushback against attempts to discredit investigations, evidence, and established fact about attack on Christian communities. This is not about insult. This is not about emotion. And this is not about logic, evidence. I want you to understand why we have to do it. It is very necessary. It is very necessary to have the discussion, because if we don't, things are going to go bad. $9 million is not a chicken change. But why we discuss this today, as they are doing in so many media houses, I want you to know that this is not about insult. We are not here to insult anybody. It's not about emotion. But whatever we're going to say today, it's about logic. This is about logic, about evidence, credible evidence, and about credibility. And it is important that we do this. Wherever you are, you also join and do your own part. And every one of us should begin to ask the $9 million question. We must continue to ask the $9 million question. Lobbying is not charity. Lobbying is not humanitarian work. Lobbying is influence management. That is what it is. Influence management. It is important you understand this before we go deep and you understand what is actually going on. When a government spends millions of dollars lobbying internationally, it is usually because its image is under scrutiny. Its credibility is being questioned. Independent reports are contradicting official talking points. So again, I ask, why spend 9 million of the truth? Why spend 9 million against the truth? If the truth is already on your side. If you are truthful, why spend $9 million? If there is nothing wrong, why pushing in $9 good million on a project within 6 months? Only 6 months project just to change a narrative. The amount that will change the entire nation, that can change the situation actually, the complaint, the amount that can be able to reverse the complaint that is being led. Why don't you spend that money on solving the problem? You don't spend that kind of money to promote peace on the ground. You spend it to control perceptions abroad. That's madness. That money can go a long way on the ground to take back the displaced people and pull them back where they are supposed to be. But no, you wouldn't do that. You don't spend that kind of money to promote peace on the ground. You spend it to control perception abroad. That is sad. Money can buy access. Money can buy airtime. Money can buy public relations, but money cannot rewrite evidence. Money cannot rewrite evidence. That is why I have to remind you all that you can't change the evidence. No matter the amount you spend, you cannot. And that is why I say that the internet never forgets. Because so many of the evidence we have today, they are in the public, in the internet space. People can look at it, people can research it, people can see it. You can't run away from it. It doesn't matter how you try, you cannot escape it. Investigations are, evidence are there, facts are there. This is where things become uncomfortable for those in power. Very uncomfortable for them because they know that these things, there are evidence, there are facts. Investigations have been done, home and abroad. We are not dealing with rumors that you say you want to remove the rumor. We are not dealing with social media gossip. No. We are dealing with documented investigations from different angles, independent report from home and abroad, recorded patterns of violence from every angle, verified testimonies. Attempts are now being made to discredit the investigation themselves. That is why we must not be silent. A serious attempt to discredit the investigation themselves. Not by disproving fact. They are not trying to disprove the fact. Not by presenting counter evidence, no, but by casting out, muddying the waters, repeating talking points loudly and often. Trying to change the narrative by all means necessary to weaken the points, weaken the evidence. This is a classic strategy that we have seen that Nigerian government is employing today. And those of us who have opportunity to be in the media, no matter how big or how small your media network is, in your little platform, add your voice and speak. We must have a pushback. If you can't defeat the fact, attack the process. But truth does not collapse because it is attacked. Truth collapses only when people stop defending it. Truth collapses when we stop defending it. And I hope we cannot stop. Not now. Not now. I pray that every one of us will gear up. Because I have seen so many videos. There are so many videos I was able to bump into so many things that were said in the conventional media yesterday. Every media network was on fire. A very credible media network in the United States have collected their share from all indications. For such kind of information to come from that credible network, it is disturbing. To discredit every single information I put forward, and they are belittling it to one screwdriver working man in Onitsha that brought information based on that, and the United States took action. Very laughable. Surprisingly, even those who are fighting against the thing, we are also laughing at that very report. That is the work of the $9 million. It's already at work. And just as I said, if you stop defending the truth, it might be difficult to sustain, but we must continue to speak. You're welcome, my beloved brother Christian. Thank you so much for joining.
Choose. Hello,
my brother.
Ndị zoo na Ekuleku. Zoo na Ekuleku.
I hope you have seen what has been going on since yesterday on the new narrative they are pushing.
Yes.
Effect of their $9 million.
But I don't know. Is that not some kind of concocted? Because though I saw it briefly, I mean, I don't know the details, how it came about, and what is the possibility that a guy in Onitsha is the one who, I mean, it doesn't make sense at all, but you probably have more details or what is it? Oh, yeah, it didn't make sense to me at all, so I don't know.
It doesn't make sense to anybody, but the problem is where the information is coming from. Although I think New York Times or whatever that wrote that. And how could such media house be part of fighting nonsense?
Yeah, New York Times is another, just like BBC, evil propaganda. I think Trump has sued them in the past too, over false allegations.
The report they brought this time around is very, very shameful.
Yeah, New York Times is more like democratic, Democrat Party, and with their, agenda, affiliation, and everything. So they don't anything Trump, they want to discredit it, So, but it is the cheapest of all propaganda you can ever imagine, because
cheapest, my brother. You can imagine something that even Abati could not support.
So you see what I mean? I don't know how they could, and this is one of the things that they get sued, because so that they're trying to say the New York Times, a global acclaimed media house, is trying to say that in Onitsha is what gave the information.
Intelligent and make them to take an action in Nigeria.
Yeah, that is just laughable. It's just so senseless too. It's incredible. I don't know how they could go so low. New York Times could go so low to do that, but we know where they are coming from. We know the divide, so they don't see anything Trump does for them is always just like BBC, they now, but of course Trump has also sued them for $10 billion, so they have to be careful moving forward, because I think by the time they get through with that issue, they will know. Maybe they will have to be bankrupt or whatever. But so this is the problem. They hate the guy so much, and anything he does, they find a way to bring it down. So that is what it's all about. I saw it on Arise when Ruben Abati and Rufai Hosseini, they were discussing it, and Ruben Abati, after saying the right thing, because as usual, you know how he goes.
As usual, he will always
Uh-huh. He will always go to that dark place, because that's whom he is, He said that,
what he's paid for to attack the Igbos. You always go there, look for that loopholes where you can attack the Igbos.
Exactly.
Let us listen to it once again from Arise.
All right.
Blowing up over the weekend. But let's begin with a story that really got people talking. We begin with the New York Times that published an investigation claiming that the United States used intelligence from a screwdriver trader and small NGO operator in Onitsha, Anambra State, to carry out the Christmas Day airstrikes in Sokoto. The article, titled "The Screwdriver Salesman Behind Trump's Strikes in Nigeria," details how Emeka Umeagbalasi says he has...
Just imagine the title, "The Screwdriver Salesman."
Mm-hmm.
That's how the title of the write-up.
Unbelievable.
Documented 125,000 Christian deaths in Nigeria since 2009, but he also told the New York Times, allegedly, that he often does not verify his data. He acknowledged that his research was mainly based on, and I quote, secondary sources, including Christian interest groups, Nigerian news reports, and Google searches. The New York Times further claims, and I quote, that Mr. Umeagbalasi is the unlikely source of research, and this is a direct quote, research that U.S. Republican lawmakers have used to promote the idea that Christians are being singled out for slaughter in Africa's most populous nation. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, Representative Riley Moore of Virginia, Representative Chris Smith of New Jersey have all cited his work. He said he has degrees in security studies and peace and conflict resolution from the National Open University of Nigeria and described himself as a very powerful and knowledgeable investigator, comparing himself with the veteran CNN journalist Christian Amanpour. All of this is taken from the article, Not My Opinion. Let's take a look at some reactions. Senator Shehu Sani wrote on Twitter, "It's unfortunate and tragic to read the New York Times report."
These are the people that sponsored this very thing.
Yeah, 100%.
That sponsored this write-up by New York Times.
Yeah.
This shows Sani
in hand day.
FFK.
Yeah. And Reno mockery them, all these type of people. Yeah.
Exactly.
Just to
people that sat down and wrote this, gave New York Times to post and publish.
I think it's part of that 9 million whatever they are using to create this confusion so that people won't really focus on the rating. That is what it's all about. Distraction. Distraction.
Information. That is what they are.
So
that the claim of Christian...
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that how can all these things be going on? I mean, everybody, we all saw Reverend Fathers and people from Middle Belt who were directly affected. They went to the Congress and testified with video evidence, everything. We saw that Reverend Dashomo, Ezekiel Dashomo. So what is all this? All these are just mere,
what about the people that visited from the US that came on the ground? Government officials that came.
Exactly.
They came by themselves, went to the camps.
Yeah.
Spoke to people, spoke to victims. Even when anyone was there, he said he spoke to the victims.
Exactly. Yeah. So obviously, I think they just try to, but again, like these shows, and no. This is one of them because I think that is what he was trying to describe, saying that the information that enabled America to come and bomb Sokoto came from a screwdriver. Oh, can you imagine? That is just so crazy. But he knows better. He knows better about just trying to, whitewash, and it's crazy, my brother.
Genocide was sourced from one Emeka, an Onitsha-based screwdriver trader and operator of a small NGO who falsely claimed to have documented 125,000 Christian deaths using Google searches. How such an unverified claim could tense up the U.S. lawmakers, president, and the intelligence community that led to an airstrike is one of the most foolish and comical historical events in our lifetime. This is shameful. Well, Sir Inyang also tweeted, and he writes, "Oh, but the media has been reporting community mass killings in churches, bandits activities, terrorist activities, herdsmen activities, kidnappings, etc. I think Nigerians mainly want the killings and terrorism to stop, period." So, of course, you know, those are some of the thoughts. Of course, amid many wide-ranging thoughts, some people going as far as saying, see, this is how the $9 million is working. There are now think pieces coming up here and there. But let me start with you, Rufai. You know, a lot of conversation around this. Because the man is a salesman of screwdrivers and other appliances or other, tools in Onitsha, does that discredit his ability to do investigative research?
I mean, see, I think it's a hit job by New York Times.
Yeah.
And it is sad that media is doing this in the world.
Exactly.
And for New York Times to say that it was solely this man's opinion that made the call for Christian genocide rife in the country is falsehood.
Mm-hmm.
They say people quoted him, people like Ted Cruz and the likes quoted him and all of that. Yes, they might have quoted him, but to say it's solely his report that tipped the balance is false. So let me give you empirical facts. Bishop Winifred Aniegbe, Catholic Bishop of the Makati Diocese, on the 12th of March 2025, testified before the House of Foreign Subcommittee on Africa on religious persecution of Nigerians, describing attacks on Christians and displacement and church destruction, all right, and an Islamic agenda to control land. In November 2025, they returned to testify at another House subcommittee on that matter. Reverend Remigus Ihula, Catholic Bishop of Makurdi, March 12, 2025, joined Bishop Aniegbe in the testimony before the House.
They didn't see those ones.
Mushpa Ape, survivor of the June 2025 Yewata attack, also virtually testified from Benue, testified between the House Foreign Subcommittee on Africa, which she originally recounted watching her 5 children slaughtered. So there have been several accounts. So for New York Times to hitch it on this story and say the screwdriver salesman was the one that wrote this, is sort of like a hit job to me. And it even makes mockery of the American intelligence system. You get, if they say it's based on this. But I disagree with you, New York Times, as regards this case. And I've given empirical facts. And if there's more, yes, there's another guy called, I think, Francis Tor.
Yeah.
He too has been a regular person that testified. In fact, he's worked with many U.S. lawmakers, In fact, he used to hold a position in Benue State. There've been many, and I can cite many other sources.
And just quickly, of course, when we talk about the $9 million, we know it's $4.5 million deal that has been done for a 6-month period. People are touting it as $9 million because it has that extra 6-month potential. Yes, but that's the deal that people are referring to when they see articles such as this. Dr. Abati, your take on this?
Okay, no, with regard to the contract with DCI Group to prove that there's no Christian genocide in Nigeria. Yes, people said, well, maybe those lobbies are already working. That's why you are seeing this kind of story in the New York Times. However, I think for Mr. Ume Agbalasi, I think that's the name, to claim that, it was what you found on Google and also on social media. You see the damage that their social media will cause. Is what the Americans acted upon. I think that in its first place is presumptuous because the American intelligence system, they don't have only one source. There are multiple sources, and those sources will be evaluated, and then there will be investigation. So to say it's one screwdriver salesman who is now screwing down Nigeria, I think Nigeria should not allow itself to be screwed down in that manner. Now, against what has been reported by the New York Times, before now, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Nigeria, Yusuf Tuga, made it very clear that, look, it was the Nigerian government that provided intelligence to the American government, and that it was a collaborative effort, a point that was again, backed up by the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu. So how on earth did all that get reduced to the fact that it's one screwdriver man screwing things up and down that is responsible for the action? The other danger here is that it could cause problems between the North and the South.
Yeah.
Because now you say, let's put it where it is. Emeka Umeagbasi, an Igbo man in Onitsha.
That's intentional.
So he's the one who has invited the United States to come and bomb people in Sokoto. That in itself is divisive. It's not the kind of narrative that should be promoted because of the implications.
You see that this guy knows what he's doing. When he promotes narrative against the Igbo people, he knows what he's doing.
When he promotes bigotry, he knows what he's doing.
All of a sudden, he's the one in the studio today condemning it.
Yeah.
That's to show you that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
We have several evidence on this platform where he has been there promoting bigotry.
When he said that Igbo people doesn't sell land to other people who are not Igbos. So that's his bigotry because it's factually incorrect. Huh?
I mean, he knows what he has been doing.
Yeah.
All of a sudden today, he's the one now challenging that the same attitude that he's displaying.
Yeah.
My third point is that the National Security Advisor, the DSS, the DMI, all the various agencies, whichever can move first, should invite that screwdriver man in Onitsha for questioning. So if he's so knowledgeable, he says he has a certificate in security studies, okay, maybe he knows other things that he can use to assist the Nigerian government. Because if indeed he's the one who communicated, that's an act of espionage against his own country, which could be interpreted as treasonable felony. If he has information, the same Nigerian government that has been saying, to make Nigeria secure is a collaborative.
He is now speaking like the real Ruben that he is.
Yes.
Focusing on that Igbo name that he had in that very issue.
Yeah.
He's not even bothered about the media house that spoke now. He's now focusing on that very man. Catch him, arrest him, kill him, and deal with him.
Yeah. That in him is coming out at the end when he's talking about espionage, talking about treason, But espionage and treason is what the likes of Tinubu's engages in. Is what the likes of the Buharis and Shetima. This is what Nigerian government does. That is espionage.
Gumi is still doing to today.
And Gumi, and in fact, to crown it all, is treason that they are engaging, because Tinubu, for example, is in the pocket of Macron, Emmanuel Macron, right? Yes. So that one, they have something on him, and treason is what Shetima and Bala Mohammed and Buhari, this is what they committed, because you allowed the terrorists to come into the country and they are massacring your people. So that is classic definition of the word treason. So, how do you go, my brother?
Therefore, and that citizens have a role to play. His first port of call should be the Nigerian government to say, this is what I know. So these are dimensions to it. But, in this age of, vain publicity, anybody can just go and grant interview to foreign journalists, parachute journalists, and say I was the one that brought him. In fact, they should seize his laptop and investigate what is inside.
You see,
that was a report by Ruth McLean with support from...
You see the meanness in him, eh? They should seize his laptop. An innocent man who is trying to earn a living. How can you tell me, Ruben Abati, that a screwdriver or whatever it is that he sells in our nature will be? How does that even make sense that he will be corresponding with New York Times?
New York Times of all people. New York Times of all people. And they will take the information without investigating it.
It doesn't. This is just like Rufai said. It's some kind of a hit job, because it doesn't make sense. Not even for one bit. Come on now. And Ruben Abati is using the opportunity to stress they should seize his laptop. This is crazy. You see, Rufai didn't
Who
go.
is even sure if such a man exists?
Oh, exactly. Okay.
Nobody's even sure because this Tinubu government can create any human being they want to create.
Of course. Of course. So these are just distraction. Maybe there's really nothing like that. Again, maybe part of that million they are spending to lobby people to engage in
proposal. And FFK can produce and
and of course, but Ruben Abati himself was also the one encouraging it that they should go and engage in lobbyist group to change the narrative. He said that is just him talking, not me. You know.
From Google and social media.
Very, very briefly, can I just say, Dr. Abati, I think we're putting a lot of emphasis on the man. How about the publication that actually took his story and gave it credence?
To the South.
Yes, exactly.
This woman is always somehow sensible each time she speaks.
Yeah, so to an extent, he's sensible.
To an extent, she's always.
He tell Ruben Abati, you are putting too much emphasis on the wrong place.
Yes. Which is what he was actually doing. Now trying to channel all the attention on that man with the laptop. Go and arrest him. Go and do his work. Then you forget about the people that call themselves a qualified media house. New York Times people.
Yeah, multi-million media house.
You can imagine.
Engage in rubbish.
Engage in rubbish. You get some information, you do not verify it, nothing. And who is even sure if such a man exists? That is the most important thing.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what Tinubu that went and hired a pastor. Pastor.
Okay.
Who is even sure that is somebody of such, that is somebody or that a screwdriver, Igbo man who selling.
Mazichus, you said yesterday when we were talking, you said that I asked if Tinubu has resurfaced. You say yes, okay, but he hasn't even addressed the country. But such a misplaced priority. So since the year, with all that has happened, if he is their president, why has he not addressed the nation about everything that happened, including the attack in Sokoto, that bombing in Sokoto, including so many other things that have been happening for the year. I think today is 20, I don't know. And they now sneak him in and they say he's back. I don't know. I didn't see anything. But will the